Good day everyone, my name is Maria Teresa Macaya, BSB2, Media and Marketing Management, handled by Herminio Cabusug Jr. So today, I will be discussing the chapter 2, The Type of Selling by Donaldson Book, 2nd edition. But before that, there is an introduction first. Introduction: the fundamental purpose of which salespeople are employed is to retain existing business and win the new customers. The purpose involves more than mere order taking, and sales force can be described and classified under a variety of job titles. For example, technical advisor, sales engineer, marketing representative, and consultant. Today, the trend in closer relationship between buyer and seller, organizations in industrial, consumers, and service firms relies to a greater extent than hereunto on the knowledge, skills, and abilities of the salesperson to create and sustain this relationship. Therefore, the way in which the selling job is conducted can vary gently, and an evaluation of selling types will be studied in this chapter. So the aim of this chapter is to classify the different types of selling, to understand how different skills and activities may be required for different circumstances, to examine the differences between services selling and new business selling. The last one is to monitor recent changes in sales job, in particular to appreciate the importance of merchandising, telesales, the account selling, and relationship selling. Next is basics different in selling situation. In modern context, selling is the outcome of a marketing process. The salesperson is by necessity a marketing manager dealing at individual customers level rather than with groups of customers or market segments. It can increasingly be observed that companies can no longer afford to separate marketing as a strategic and planning activity from the orientational implications of customers' account management. The implications is that salespeople will require marketing knowledge and skill, and marketing positions will increasingly demand knowledge and ability in impersonal reason and negotiations. In this topic, business difference in selling situation, there are comparison of sales and marketing activity. The one is stage, salesperson, and marketing manager. Stage: a marketing research assessment, strategy planning, marketing next implementation, distributions, and promotions. In salesperson, uses personal experience, outcomes, record, and questions, emphasizes relevant features which match company with customer, use of the discount terms and credit, use of backup and collaboration when required, use of print samples, factory visits, and entertaining. In marketing manager, uses format market, research, target market, and define segments, establishes product, price, service, position in the market, price policy, sales policy, and advertising and sales promotion. These are the comparison of sales and marketing activity. The sales process should be seen in this context of customers' problem solving rather than a merely selling a valuable product. Any new salesperson of new sales situation is best approached by an initial assessment of the nature of the customer's problem, just a market research should be a prerequisite for evaluating a new market or a new product. Next, new business versus service selling. New versus new business versus service selling. Selling effort must match the requirements of customers and reinforce the marketing strategy of the organization. Selling must also reinforce and complement policy relating to market segmentation, the role of distributors and intermediaries, and the positioning of the product to each market. This idea of not only modifying selling effort but also in structuring the sales process of the business of large and small customers, new product or new market has important organizational implications. Next is McMurray and Arnold's classification of selling type. McMurray and Arnold's classification of selling types. Various other classifications of selling have been suggested based on both theoretical and empirical grounds. One of the most widely quoted is the suggested by Murray 1961 and McMurray and Arnold 1968. The built on the development service spectrum to classify sales position in terms of both the difficulty of making a sales and what they refer to as the creatively required by salespeople. Next is Newton's classification of sales type. Newton's classification of sales type. Extensive research by Derek Newton at Harvard led him to develop a four-way classification of selling type Newton 1969. These types were trade missionary, technical, and new business selling. Newton related this category to measure of performance by salespeople and to turnover rates in personnel. In trade selling, New found that the high performers were older, used extensive reporting, and were paid at least in part of commission. Less emphasis was placed on order taking and selling could be termed local, where objectives centered around the need to build and maintain long-standing customers' relationship. Next is a modern classification of selling type. First is consumer direct. It has already been suggested that salespeople who deal directly with the public are most visible and most familiar type of salesperson, but they do not represent a majority of people employed in selling job. Nevertheless, this is an important type of selling employing many people and also present particular difficulties in their management and control. Direct salespeople are order greeter who rely on selling skills and use canned representation and unconditioned response techniques to close sales. B is industrial direct. Salespeople are also order greeter, the difference being in the scale and value of purchase, in the length of negotiation, the organizational nature of the buying decision, and the use for which the product required. Included here are product such as machine tools, aircraft, raw materials, and component part purchased on contract basis. So the chapter type of ceiling, there is summary. Summary: no one theory or set principles will apply universally to every ceiling situation. Care has to be taken to adapt to the product, company, or market situations, which creates the unique circumstances impinging on the sales interaction. The role and tasks of direct salespeople. Retail salespeople on direct level negotiator are significantly different, creating diverse management problem and solutions. Classification of selling types is suggested in the chapter of the ground of usefulness rather than infallibility. These similarities are difference in selling will influence the remainder of this book. Thank you. That's all, and thank you.